Hello and welcome to the Con Couple. I'm Richard,
I'm Caroline.
and we go to a frankly terrifying number of cons every year.
This is our 50th episode.
Yeah, it is. We've made 50 episodes of this podcast. We're not at the 1 year mark yet.
Yep.
That's terrifying.
Fairness, some of them were not con.
This is true.
Three.
Yeah, it's fine. Look. So, where were we this week?
We're at Adamcon, which is you're following the schedule's late edition because I only realized it was happening in the car to Anime Zap last weekend.
Yep. So Adamcon, this is a very interesting con because, among other things, tickets are free.
Yep, completely free.
Yep. Which that's very, very unusual. Like every other con we go to, like con we're going to next weekend, I think the tickets are $60 a head. We've been to things like GalaxyCon, which charge like $150 a head. Free is very odd and unusual. We're not complaining.
Not at all.
But
it's not free. Obviously, we're going to be reviewing that for what it is. It is a free experience. That said, it is an experience that centers around donating to charity, so you can donate.
Yep.
And like most experiences with donating to charity, the incentive of donating to charity always is, you can donate great. If you're not, have fun. You being there probably also supports people donating to charity.
Yes.
It's an event that needs people added to functions.
Yeah. To quote one of the things that we have heard at numerous furry cons, if you can give, do. If you can't, don't worry. Everybody else there can take care of it.
Yes. Particularly, this supports Extra Life, which I was just finding out about.
Yep.
So, Extra Life is a organization that uses, I think, originally video games, but now board games and TTRPG experiences,
Card games, all of that jazz.
All of that to basically give money to local children's hospital. In this case, Cincinnati Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
In Cincinnati, they're a big organization. Anyone can start a chapter and work. Most charity organizations, I assume, the process of setting up an ability or the ability to donate to charity is probably quite easy because they want it to be.
Yeah.
So.
Generally speaking, the charity themselves will help you do that because again, there is almost certainly a certain amount of paperwork involved.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, a charity like that, if you are deliberately setting up something to help them, will usually help you with the paperwork.
And this was set up by somebody named Adam. I do have his last name here, but I'm not going to attempt to say it, not out of privacy, because it is public, and our policy is if it's public, we do say it.
Yep.
But I can't pronounce this, so I am sorry. Bardo Toss. You can. You're driving, you can't read it.
Yep.
Bart is the first part. Then there's an O. Then there's an S. Then there's a Z. Then there's an E. Then there's a K.
Okay. Cool. You have an interesting surname,
I'm just
sir.
going to call you Adam B. How
Yep.
about that? That's great.
Yeah. So, based on what we kind of heard this weekend, apparently Adamcon initially started literally as Adam hosting a few friends at his house for a quote-unquote con, by which they mean like board game day, and has steadily grown from there. And based on the messages they were sending out over the course of the weekend, they had over 1,000 attendees this weekend, and as of Saturday afternoon, had raised over 20 grand for the charity.
And this is a free con that is a charity. We will probably bring up some like moderate criticisms about organizational structure and stuff like that, but it's a free con for charity.
Yeah, like again, as we have always said, a con that is for profit, we will hold to a higher standard because it's for profit.
A con that is run largely by one person, not that they're on a bunch of incredible volunteers that we'll talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That they're hosting an event for charity that's giving money to Children's Hospital. Like, we might have some recommendations on how to do stuff next year, but in all honesty, this is a free con for charity. There's nothing that's not awesome about this.
Yeah, and for the record, generally speaking, this was well run.
Yeah. And if you're wondering how this raised money for charity despite the badges being free, I promise you it's not a money marketing scheme. We'll talk about how.
Yeah, we will talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this episode will be coming out late. That's not because I screwed up. Usually when our episodes come out late, that's my fault. This is just because this particular event was held on the same weekend as MLK Day, which meant this one actually ran all the way through Monday.
Yes.
You and I both have today off. The university is closed today because MLK Day.
MLK Day isn't actually a holiday that we should celebrate. Like President's Day, no one really needs to celebrate that. Most of our presidents suck. But MLK was an actual important figure, and this is something that you should celebrate.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not sure that like going to a con necessarily celebrates MLK's legacy, but money for a children's hospital is fine. So.
Again, I put it this way: this con is absolutely open to everybody. Whatever their race, gender, all of that stuff. Like, I feel that is a thing that MLK would have approved of.
Yes. I'm sure he would have approved of giving money to a children's hospital. So,
yeah.
Like, if you're going to do something with your MLK Day that respects MLK's legacy in some way, I feel like this is closer than most of what people might have do.
Yeah.
Sleep in and maybe play video games at home. So.
Yeah. Like, again, community spirit was a thing he was like quite big into, as I understand it. Again, like, I'm going to be honest, my knowledge of him is limited. I never learned about him in school. I'm actually British, in case this is the first time listening to this episode or listening to this podcast. So, we don't talk about your history that much.
Yeah, and also as important as the modern American civil rights movement is, and how much we want to respect it, we're both white people who were born after MLK was alive, so we're probably not the best people to talk about that particular time period in history. So
yeah.
We're just saying this was on MLK.
Yeah. But that meant it was running all the way through Monday.
Yeah.
It's currently about 5:30 on Monday, and I normally try and get our episodes out by 6 on Monday. That's not going to happen, obviously, so we'll see what time this one goes up.
There's some work to do.
Yeah. So, yeah.
One of my first recommendations for Adamcon is Adamcon doesn't really advertise a lot. I don't know, again, for charity, so I get that it can't. But Adamcon's not on a lot of the official listservs I use, like FanCons.com and stuff like that. I would encourage them to kind of maybe see if they can get on a few more listservs just so people know about it. Because I didn't know about it until very recently.
Yep. Yeah. How did you find out about it?
It was on, weirdly, the Ohio Convention's Facebook group.
Huh.
So, and I found out about cons a lot of different things. But again, if there is any more free advertising, this podcast can be the start of it.
Yep.
Getting a few more lines out there, I think would be great for you. That said, I don't think it's having a problem with numbers currently. It's about right for the size it is.
Yep.
But more numbers means more people for charity.
More numbers for charity. Charity number go up. That good thing.
So, again, this con was free. You do still have to register for the con.
Mm-hmm.
I just did that online. Like, basically, I just put in email numbers. And it connects to a website called Cardboard Events, which is similar to Tabletop Events.
Mm-hmm.
So, those of you who go to Tabletop Cons know that with Tabletop Events, you sign up for events in advance. Cardboard Events is similar to that, where you get a badge, you can sign up for stuff at events. You can also sign up for volunteer hours quite easily if that's what you wanted to do.
Yep.
I will say sign up for events is a little bit more, it's not quite as interface friendly as Tabletop Events is.
My main issue was I didn't feel like the search function was quite as cooperative, and the filters in particular just kind of didn't seem to do anything.
Yeah, you weren't able to filter by, like, generally when we're doing this, we want to filter by, like, RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Or board game or stuff like that, and it was very hard to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I also couldn't sign up for. If I signed up for a game, you would just have to sign up with Tabletop Events, and if we're friends on the app, then we can. I can sign up for you, and you can sign up for me, but because of this speech, you had to sign up individually.
Yep. Yeah.
I have no idea what that's about.
Yeah, that's a lot of like fire trucks and ambulances over by our house. Oh well, hopefully everybody is okay. But yeah, so again. It's perfectly fine, it's perfectly functional. It's definitely not the best system we've seen, but it got the job done.
And I don't know if Tabletop Events has a surcharge, so.
It may well do.
It's largely free, you have to make budget cuts places. So
yeah.
Like, first system was serviceable enough, it allowed us to sign up for games. This did have a lot of TTRPGs, which is generally tended to be what we tend to go for at this type of con. So you might just sign up for people.
We did. And again, we'll talk in detail about exactly what we did once we get to the chronological part. The venue, based again on something that I heard, I think this was their first time using this venue.
Yes, on their website it said that they just moved to this venue this year.
Yeah.
They used to be in a gaming store.
Yep.
Which I probably will shout out because they were getting money, but at least we didn't like it.
Mm-hmm. But this particular new venue is a community centre. I want to say Woodlawn or something like that. I've forgotten what it was called.
So previously they had their con at the Capstone Games retail store, who I still think they work very closely with based on some of the things we saw this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But this year they're in the Woodlawn Community Center.
Yeah. And as a space for a small to medium sized convention, I think this center worked fine. In terms of layout, it's basically sort of one corridor effectively, with two biggish halls on one side, 3 or 4 quote-unquote classrooms on the other side, and sort of like auditorium down at the end. perfectly functional space, I felt. You know, with various bits sectioned off for various things. So, for example, all of the RPG stuff we did this weekend was in Classroom 3. I think some of it was also running in the auditorium.
Yeah.
Which, because again, the auditorium had like seating facing towards the stage and also had a few round tables in it. Perfectly fine. Classroom 2, which I think was the biggest of the classrooms because it also could have been split into 2A and 2B, was the wargaming space. And Classroom 1 was being used all weekend for Blood on the Clock Tower.
We'll talk more about it because we did play quite a bit of it.
Yeah, we played several games of that. But again.
And then you had 2 bigger gaming rooms.
Yes.
We had some spaces for card games of various sorts, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever other kids are playing now, Disney Arcana, whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever the youth are into.
And there was a board game library near the front.
Yeah. And in terms of vendor space, this did it the way that actually quite a few tabletop cons do it, which is the vendors were basically racked up around the outside ring of those 2 larger halls.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a charity con, if the vendors still have to pay for space or just recommended to a charity. That's not a part of the con that I think we have access to.
Yeah, we don't know the behind the scenes on that one. If anybody wants to contact us, feel free. There's a comment section on the YouTube page, or if you just want to email it to us, that's concouplepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. By the way, I checked. The YouTube page cuts off the Google Doc that I have of like the list of conventions we're going to and the other stuff.
It doesn't cut it off. It just won't put it as an actual link because I won't give Google a copy of my driver's license.
Okay.
Yeah, it will supposedly once we've proved we're a real channel by like posting for an extended period of time, it will start allowing us to link to sites that are outside of YouTube. It hasn't done that yet.
Consistently for like a year. I realize that very few people watch us, but
I had to click a button to tell it to start tracking whether or not we wanted to do that because Google is Google. So yeah, so eventually that'll work. But yeah, that link to our con spreadsheet does work. You've just got to copy and paste it.
Maybe Google's like just suspicious that I'm not a person. Google's all those caption tests like every time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not a person. I'm a philosophy professor. This actually is a question I can answer.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you want to check our con spreadsheet, it does work. You just have to copy and paste the link. Or if you're listening to this on Spotify or Amazon or all those places, those links actually work.
Yes. So check the link tree or something like that.
Yeah.
And I am trying to update it when we know for certain we're going to a con, so you know what con we're going to be at. Because I know we do have people who catch us at cons.
Yep.
But I'm not great about doing that. And also, as you know, I've been pretty sick. I'm still pretty sick. Mm-hmm. It's not contagious type of sick. It's also not like dying type of sick, but it is annoying, kind of scary, kind of
stressful.
Sick. So I'm trying to manage that. That said, that's another reason we should support Children's Hospital. That
yes,
was a good segue.
That was a good segue. Like you are not having to go to a children's hospital. You are.
I'm not a child, nor am I the type of sick that would require me to have an extended stay in a hospital.
Yeah, hopefully. But again, it has been kind of stressing us out a bit, and it probably has been affecting you a little bit at some points. Which again, we'll talk about at the points when we think it's relevant.
Yeah, I do want to hedge that this weekend I was dealing with a lot of illness. It's fault, obviously, and it's not the type of illness that would affect anyone. I would not go to a con or a children's charity hospital if I was actually sick in a way that was contagious.
Yes, you are not in any way contagious. It is a...
So should we shift into chronological order now?
I might as well talk about the food.
Okay.
Because I do. So, one of the things that new listeners will not know, I can eat at cons. You can't for various complicated reasons.
Especially when I'm sick.
Yeah, that doesn't help. But yeah, so there was food available at this con. It was effectively a sort of basic concession stand that they'd set up. So burgers, pretzels. They had pizza that I'm pretty sure they were ordering in from somewhere. And then they also added a couple of extra things on Monday, which was cool. And the food was decent. I wouldn't rave about it, but it filled a hole and was a little pricey. But I also get the impression that I think that money is also going into the charity.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with it. I don't mind paying $5 for a basic cheeseburger if I know that at least a chunk of that money is going to back to the charity cause. That I'm totally fine with. So I quite happily sort of I think I got a cheeseburger each day plus like one or two other things depending on like what was available that day. So again, perfectly fine, perfectly functional, a little overpriced, but in a way that I genuinely did not mind. Like, put it this way, the food here was probably about on par with what I generally get when we're at the Pittsburgh Convention Center, in terms of like similar feeling quality, and it cost a quarter the amount. So, price-wise, I don't have a problem with it. In fact, it's weirdly similar to what the place we're going next weekend has had in the past. Maybe that's just what they think board gamers want.
Cheap, easy food.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need something you can wolf at a table while a GM's busy explaining something. But yeah, perfectly fine, perfectly functional, no real complaints. It's not worth going just for the food, but the food is nice to have, and I do appreciate it. Plus free condiments. Condiments.
Yep, that one.
Yeah. So yeah, is there anything else? Oh, parking. We should probably briefly mention. Parking at this con is completely free. Free parking is best parking. Just right next to the venue. The only issue was, I think they had more people turn up than they were expecting. The car park got full. I think it got pretty close to full every day. I don't know for certain about Monday. And on Saturday, they actively sent out an email basically warning all attendees that if you parked illegally, you might get towed. And then they basically said the overflow parking is here and told you. We didn't have to use the overflow parking because we either got there early enough on most days, and on the day we got here a bit later, I got very, very lucky in that somebody left right as I was about to drive past them, so I was able to snag their spot. So yeah, so parking worked. Maybe a little bit of signage up just saying overflow parking that away. That would be nice, but that's about all I think it really needed.
Yeah, pretty basic. Outside the convention center. So yeah, shifting in the chronological now.
Yep. So we started on Friday, and Friday had been a little bit of a stressful day for, again, health reasons. Yep. So we ended up getting there at a little after 6, about 6:15?
A little past 6, yes.
Or was it closer to might have been 7:15.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 6 and 7 is when we got there. And yeah, the car park was fairly full at that point, which we were a little surprised by because we didn't realize quite how many people this con was going to pull at that point.
Yeah. We had no idea what to expect. It was pretty much all.
Yeah.
We also didn't know what registration would really be like, given that the con was free.
Yep.
Like, we did register for that, we just had no idea what the system was going to be like.
Yep. So we got in and we realized there was a line for registration that was actually like curving around. I suspect if it had been warmer, they probably would have like curved it outside. It was freezing all weekend, so I don't think they wanted people standing out in the cold. Which, good call.
Understandable.
Good decision. Whoever made that decision. It did mean that the entranceway was a teensy bit blocked and a bit finicky to get through, but I do think it was a better option than like making people stand outside in 20-degree Fahrenheit weather.
Yeah, registration opened about an hour earlier at 6. We did find out there was some problem with the registration system that I think took about 30 minutes to sort, because it was when registration opened, the line got a little bit backed up.
Yeah. So I basically said, you kind of looked at the line and went, you weren't sure if you could do that. So you took a seat. I went and stood in the line. Probably took me, like 10, 15 minutes to get through it?
Yeah, and it's worth noting because I had a doctor's appointment related to the stuff that day. We didn't wear costumes that day.
Yeah.
I still looked cute because I still wore my fairy dress. It was just like, a shorter fairy dress.
Yeah, it was a low-key dress.
Yeah.
By your standards. It was only mildly sparkly. So you basically took a seat, got your phone out, and I stood in the line. Line moved with reasonable haste. Could have been worse. As I say, it was probably about a 15-minute wait, and they did have They did have people directing traffic, which I appreciated, insofar as they were saying, okay, you're looking for the guy with the wet floor sign. He's indicating the back of the line. I was like, cool, that works. And I think they had 3 different like people who were able to actually like register and give you your badges, who were being assisted by various other people who were like passing them stuff and that kind of stuff. So it was moving about as well as I think it could. So yeah, went up. They basically just said, "What's your name?" Or I think they specifically asked for last name. Fine. I told them, and I also said I was picking up your badge as well, because you were just over there. Yep, they said that's absolutely fine. So I was able to get both our badges without any problems. And we got given our badge numbers at that point, which we had to write them on ourselves. That's fine. I don't really care. So just name and badge number.
Oh, you wrote this?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
why you can barely read it.
No, I was actually like, this is actually pretty good for your handwriting.
Yeah, my handwriting sucks.
Yeah, this was good. Like I thought somebody else wrote it. It actually looked nice.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, and interestingly, the badge numbers they were doing by household. So you and I have the same badge number for this con.
Given that they're big of event as a charity raffle, we'll get to it. This makes a certain amount of sense.
Yes.
If you're in the same household, you might buy tickets separately, but still they're going to the same place.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Which was fine. So at that point, I handed you your badge, and we had a chance to like explore the space a little bit. So yeah, we looked around. We got a sense of where things were. Figured out where we needed to be for our game, and had a look at the raffle. At that point, they were still in the process of setting up all of the things for the raffle, because they had close to 1,000 prizes this year.
Yep.
That's bonkers.
Yep.
They're still, as far as I know, they're still doing the raffle drawing.
I'm pretty sure they still are.
They
take them a while.
Yeah, it's because they started doing the drawing at 3, no, officially at 3 today. I don't know if they started on time, because we weren't there for that.
Yeah, and they did verify, because we did donate to the raffle, because it's one of the main ways they make money, obviously.
Yep.
They did verify very clearly that if you weren't present, you could still win.
Yes. So yeah, basically the way the raffle worked was you bought your tickets, they gave you a stamp which they set to your badge number for you. Then they basically said, go away, stamp every raffle ticket with your badge number. When you're done, return the stamp so that other people can use it. Great. Which does at least mean I did not have to write my name 50-something times.
Yep.
This was a very quick and efficient system. I like this system for doing a charity raffle. At that point they were still setting up. We didn't buy our tickets at that point. I think we bought them sometime on Saturday.
You bought them on Saturday.
I bought them on Saturday. Oh yeah, while you were busy with yeah.
We didn't get to enjoy the space. More like looking around at games. I got to see they had some free games at this con. That they were setting up, and they built a giant I saw this. I think this is why I noticed it before you did. What's the spire thing on the castle called?
Crenelations.
Okay, yeah, that thing. They basically built the tower part of the castle. For those of you who have my understanding of medieval history,
battlements is also an appropriate term. It's
the part that looks like the rook.
Yes.
That part. They built a version of that out of the free games they were giving away, and I saw them lifting the crown onto the top of it while you were getting the badges, which was very, very funny. So I also wanted to shout out that thank you for making badge pickup accessible for those of us who can't wait in lines by letting somebody else pick them up for us. That's great.
That's always nice.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, if I basically said I'm also picking up my wife and they said we need to see her, I could have violently gesticulated you over and you would have come over. It wouldn't have been catastrophic, but it was. We preferred it doing this way, so thank you. So at that point, did we take a seat at our table at that point?
Because I think we went into we looked in the board game space. We took a little bit of time looking around the raffle space. We sat down in the raffle space for a few minutes and just got chatting.
Yeah.
And I think we went into Player First Game.
Yeah.
Which was at 8 p.m. And I will also, I don't know if we mentioned this yet, this con is in Cincinnati. Yeah.
It's a 2.5-hour drive for us. And because we were away last weekend, and we're going to be away next weekend, we didn't want to leave the animals again. For the record, we have a dog sitter, we have a pet sitter. they're fine, but we felt a little bad, like, being away all weekend. So, yeah, we've been driving back and forth to this con. So we've driven like 20 hours for this con. You're welcome.
Yeah. This was not one of our smarter decisions.
No,
the car definitely needs an oil change again.
Yeah, it will do at some point. At some point, we need to get the tires checked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on the list of stuff it needs doing. It's fine.
Anywho, first game?
Yep.
Remember what it was?
This was the Monty Python game.
It's Monty Python's co-curricular medieval reenactment had, I will say, a ridiculously long description, which I think is just a description that's copied and pasted from it. But this started at 8 and was supposed to go 3 hours.
So we would have been getting home at like 2 a.m.
Yep.
Again, not one of our smarter decisions.
Yep.
But yeah. So we've actually played this game once before. We played it at UConn.
Yeah.
It's a fairly silly system.
It's a fairly silly system that has a lot of rules and is very involved, like way more than it needs to be.
You know, right down to the fact that like you have tracks to measure your health and sanity, which are the death track. You know, where every time you take damage, you take a bit of death, and the loony track. You know, where every time you are hurt, your sanity takes a smack, you take a bit of loony.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of other things. There's character classes. It uses a bunch of weird die as well. Like, you know, it runs the full gambit from D4, D6, 8, 10, 12, and then it also uses 14, 16, 18, and D20. And your super spiffing ability, which is a potentially once per game power you have, it's on a D30.
Yeah.
They understood Python, is what I will say when they were designing this game. Like, absurd, but in a rules-following way, is very Python-esque. So yeah. So what did you think of this particular game?
It was definitely very good. We probably should explain a medical thing happened during the game, so we didn't have to leave this game early. Not terribly early, nonetheless, but I think quarter of the game at that point.
I think so.
And I did apologize to the GM. It was just one of those things where something happened, and I had to leave. And it wasn't anything at the table. It really was not.
It was.
I had a doctor's appointment that was very taxing on me that day. I haven't been great this weekend generally, and it just kind of got to be too much and kind of a bad moment. Yeah. So, and I don't normally like doing that. I really like when GMs are appreciative. They mostly just seem confused, which is understandable. If you're listening and also confused, I apologize.
It's been a tough month.
It's been a tough month, and I know I'm being vague about it, but it's just I kind of unfortunately just kind of need to be vague about it. It's hard for me to talk about, and I don't really want to go into more detail. If that's not enough for explicitly get it, but I don't know. Am I being fair?
No, again, you are under no obligation to share any medical stuff you're not comfortable sharing. That's fine.
Part of it's extremely complicated, and it would be very, very boring if I explained how all these various things interact with each other. It's hard.
Yeah, the short version is there's a lot of stressful stuff going on at the moment, and just it ended up kind of getting a bit much for you towards the tail end of the game. It's not the fault of any individual.
Yeah,
it's just
part of the reason I am saying this is because if you are a GM or a player at table and you see somebody leave abruptly, it really might not be anything to do with the game. And we did try to warn the GM ahead of time that this might happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if they fully understood because it is kind of hard. We can't talk about specifics, but keep in mind if somebody just leaves the table, sometimes it is just legitimately they're having a medical issue and have to go take care of it.
Yeah. So again, we had fun with this game. I want to clarify.
We did. It was fun. Both the players were decent RP players. It was a funny game. Everyone got that it was a funny game. There were some very cool moments. I got to change a sign to say something different with my magical ability once. That was funny.
That was pretty funny. The giant floating hand gave you the finger as a result of that. Again, it was very silly. It was very fun. Good job.
Yes. And this was a different module than I think one we played before.
Yes. Yeah, the different module. I think both modules are drawn from the core book.
Yeah.
But
it's a really simple system of there's a I think kind of boss quote unquote fight. It's not really a fight. It's Monty Python. There's more banter than there is fights. There's a final thing at the end that we didn't fully get to see. Therefore, we didn't get to the town. And there's a bunch of random encounters that can happen along the way to that.
Yeah. Which perfectly fine way to do a module and an adventure. Means you should logically get slightly different adventures each time you do that. And again, it was fun.
It's cute. It's a lot of art about the things the players came up with. Like the GM was telling us during the same thing where I changed the sign because the hand was like demanding a sacrifice to it. That they had to, I think, what were they sacrificing? You had to sacrifice like a cow.
It was like an ox, a goat, something else, depending on like your social status.
Yeah.
And you just changed it to everybody must sacrifice a hare.
Yeah. Whereas there's definitely something that was like a car or something. So like.
Ram.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the things I had to sacrifice was a ram. So in that case, the summoner, which is the role I was playing, was like, they were like, well, I want to summon a ram. Well, this ram's in the field. Well, I want to summon a Dodge Ram.
Yeah.
To be the sacrifice.
Which again is very Python-esque.
Yeah.
So it's a fun system. I do think it's more of a one-shot con system rather than something I would want to do a campaign in.
It is again very involved. Like it's very thought out. Like,
yeah.
It is something for which if you're not very familiar with Python humor or that, like the game has enough jokes in it that you can still have fun, even if you're not somebody who's very good at that type of humor. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'm so glad we had to keep.
Yeah.
I will also say this game was slotted to end at 11, and we had a 2.5-hour drive. So.
Because we're idiots.
That was part of the problem.
Yeah.
Which is like I needed to get home.
Yeah. So yeah, we got home at like 2 a.m.
We did.
We went to bed.
We did.
We had originally been slated to play Pirate Board at 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, we changed our time slot for that.
We changed our mind on that one. So we both backed out of that game on the Saturday morning.
Yep.
And instead opted to play it at 6 o'clock on Sunday because it was being run multiple times that weekend, and we decided, nope, the 10 a.m. time slot's not going to work for us. We need at least a little sleep. And so we changed our tickets to that one. I'll say this for the system: very easy to drop a ticket and get a new one.
Yeah. So we changed our times over to that particular time slot, and actually got to come fairly late on Saturday.
Yeah.
Late for us. It was like
yeah, it was afternoon. Yeah. So, yeah. What time? Yeah, because what time was your game on Saturday? Was
1:30.
it 1:30? Yeah, 1:30 is when we got there because you were nearly late for that game. Because again, we needed some goddamn sleep.
We've not been sleeping well with my illness and stuff like that lately.
Yeah.
It's nice to kind of sleep better.
Yeah.
And that's it. You barely got parking.
Yeah. That was the day when the car park was completely full, and I just got very lucky that somebody was leaving right when I was driving past them. So yeah, I snagged that spot, and that was a spot right the far up end. That day you were wearing a costume?
Yeah, so I was wearing kind of a Belle-inspired dress.
Yep.
This con did have a cosplay contest. I did not enter it. Again, it's a little bit hard to find the rules on the website because it looked like they were still from last year, and I didn't know if they were the same. If I actually cared, I'm sure I could have gone by the cosplay table and asked questions.
Yeah,
it's just
but generally speaking, we don't tend to we don't tend to take part in cosplay contests. We've been very burned on them in the past.
Well, it's also just it's a tabletop con. I don't really want to do cosplay contests.
Yeah, you want to do tabletop stuff.
Like games.
Yeah, but you also want to look fabulous, which you did. So this particular convention center this particular center has like a pick-off drop-off point just outside the main entrance. So I basically pulled in there, got you out, got you inside, and basically said, okay, go to your table. I'll go park, and then I'll come meet you. So I did that. I went in. I met up with you just to make sure everything was good at your table, give you your various bits and bobs of stuff. And then I headed over to the room I needed to be in. So do you want to talk about the game you played?
Sure. So I played Bubblegum at 12 items or less. So this is a one-page RPG that I think the group involved invented it, but I'm not entirely sure. But one-page RPGs are fairly simple RPG systems that you can just play with anyone at any time. This one is designed around one phrase. Don't yell at me for getting the censors or whatever.
Do you want me to quote it?
Yes.
I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah, somebody made a game just based on that phrase, which is great.
Yep.
So,
shout out to Roddy Piper.
Yeah. And this is by, I'll shout out the group again. If this is the first time listening to this podcast, we don't say individual names unless they're public names. Obviously, we're going to say Adamcon's name. It's Adamcon after himself, so I'm assuming that,
He's comfortable with Adam being said aloud, yes.
But individual names we don't say.
Yep.
That's totally not to hide the fact that we're really bad at learning people's names. This is by the Dirty 20 Club, which is one of those social gaming clubs that meets this stuff. And they host some like really cool people.
Mm-hmm.
And they ran also Pirate Club, for instance.
Yes.
So this particular system is a very simple system, and you have a D8 that's a tracker, and below that D8 are mundane actions, and above that D8 are kick-ass actions. So you can either roll mundane or kick-ass. So mundane is like opening a door. Kick-ass is like doing a kickflip on a skateboard. If you're rolling a mundane action, you have to roll below equal to the number. And if you're rolling a kick-ass action, you have to roll above the number, basically. So at the beginning of the game, it's really easy to do mundane actions because they're 8 or below, and it's hard to do kick-ass actions because you need a 9 or a 10 because you're rolling a 10-sided die. As the game progresses, every single time you fail, or sometimes you can spend points to automatically succeed, you lower your score. So if you fail a roll, you'll go from an 8 to a 7, and then your mundane actions are below a 7, and your kick-ass actions are 8 or above. So it's very clearly a system designed to make mundane actions easy at the beginning of the game, and kick-ass actions sometimes the only thing you can do. So I did ask what happens if you run out of bubblegum. If you run out of bubblegum, you can only perform kick-ass actions. But the catch with kick-ass actions is once you do one, they become mundane for you. So if you do like a kickflip, you can't do another kickflip as a kick-ass action. I've said as so many times, it's fine. You can only do it as a mundane action. So one of the tricks, particularly late game, is you have to get very creative with your action economy because you have to do something that you've never done before. So that was the plot, or that was the mechanics. The plot is basically you're going to the grocery store, and each of your characters has to do something at the grocery store. And I do think I was trying something subconsciously during this particular con, because I did it a couple times, of like trying to make my characters connected to other people's characters at the table through like some relation such that we knew each other to give me like more RP connections. But I do think it actually worked both times I tried it. So in this particular case, I decided to be the 5-year-old little sister of the 10-year-old who wanted to get pizza rolls, and my goal was to free a lobster. Because it's honestly kind of always been my goal. It definitely was when I was 5. The lobster thing. And yeah, game went off the rails. Great table chemistry, like very fun table. Lots of give and take. Lots of, knowing how to share the spotlight. Shenanigans generally. I will say these games do kind of tend to evolve a little bit towards the end as they're kind of anticipated to. There's kind of sort of naturally peter out once everyone's like dice get close to 0. So I think they had a 3-hour time slot for this. I expected this to go about 2 because most games of this variety tend to last about 2 hours, which I think is about how we did. That said, it was a ball. I was laughing hysterically. My jokes were landing at the table. GM was great. Other players were amazing. They wished we were locals who could join more of the games. Like, I had an absolute... As a silly game, I probably picked the silly games and wouldn't have a lot of stress this weekend. This was a ton of fun. Neil, you were to be Warhammer.
Yes. So those of you who've listened to this podcast will know I'm a Warhammer fan. I actually worked for G-Dubs for a while. Retail staff, nothing fancy. But since I moved to the States, I've continued to like build and paint, but I've not had the opportunity to play because I don't goddamn live near anybody who plays Warhammer. So you happen to notice that at this con there was 4 games of 40k listed on the schedule, and you told me you wanted me to do it.
I did.
Because like you feel guilty about the fact that since I moved over here, I haven't been able to like do a thing that I enjoy. So thank you very much for that. So yeah, so this game, the game officially started at 2:30. So, same sign-up process as everything else. So I signed up, and the listing basically said they'll be bringing terrain, but like dice, measuring stuff, and minis. Or rule books, you had to provide yourself. That's fine. Like Warhammer players, generally speaking, we like to bring our own armies to stuff. So I had to think about what I wanted to bring to this. I opted to bring my Custodes. There are 2 reasons for that. One, my Space Marine 2,000 point list isn't done yet. I've got more to buy for it and more to build for it. Like I still haven't finished building that Terminator box I got before Christmas because again we've been too distracted. Let alone get them painted. And my Sisters of Battle army, I adore. The Sisters are a wonderful force, but the Custodes army fits in one small carry case. My Sisters army needs my big case. Okay, for anybody who's listening to this and has no goddamn idea what I'm talking about, like you, the Custodes army is one of the most elite in the game. So for a Warhammer operates on a point system where different models are worth different amounts of points, and the idea being that if you are playing a, in this case, 2,000 point game, which is kind of considered the baseline standard, you will have different sized armies depending on which army you're playing. The Custodes are a very, very elite army. Their models cost a lot of points, but are very powerful, which means that a full Custodes army usually has a lot fewer models in it than, for example, Tyranids, which is what I was playing against, which meant that I could transport it much easier. Fair?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so basically, that army fits in one small carry case. My Battle Sisters army doesn't. I would have needed a much bigger case, and it would also have taken a lot longer to like do the setup and tear down on. Like, I love my Battle Sisters, I really do. They're actually really nicely painted, and like, yeah, I'm proud of them. But you know, it was a practicality consideration, is why I opted for my Custodes. Plus, I think they're nicely painted. I got some compliments. And to be fair, for the record, this the listing did specify like proxy models are fine. You don't actually have to have things painted. You know, this was a low-key friendly game. It wasn't like operating under like full tournament rules or any nonsense. So yeah, which was good. So yeah, so went into room 2, which was the wargaming space. There was a bunch of games of Conquest, I believe it's called, going on in the back. And then they had a couple of the tables set aside for the 40k stuff, which is great. So my opponent and I introduced ourselves to each other and began like setting things up. Only one other person turned up to play 40k, who was a teenager, I would guess, who, you know, my opponent basically said they didn't really have anything else on for the rest of the day, so, and they had the space. So after he played his game with me, he would be very happy to play against the teenager if a fourth person didn't turn up. And they said, "Great, that'll work. That's fine." So yeah, so I was happy that they agreed to do that, so that everybody who wanted to play that weekend would have the opportunity to play at least one game. So yeah, so you know, did our setup, you know, got everything set up. I took a picture of the board, got a selfie with the guy, and got rolling. You came into the room like 20 minutes after that because one, your game had ended, and two, yeah, we did start like half an hour late. That's not unusual. I'm not going to lie, at any kind of 40k based event. Just unless you are doing the tournament thing where you have 2.5 hours to play a game and you need to be like working through it fast. Like, games do tend to get a little, you know, loosey-goosey sometimes.
Honestly, I should have just gone and played Blood Tower now that I'm more comfortable doing that, but instead I just like wrote a book on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry if you were bored.
And yeah, I wanted you to have this experience. I've been wanting to get you to play more. We just live in an area where anyone plays, just in the country, and I keep you very busy on weekends. I feel bad that you can't do so much of your hobby.
I know. Again, at least in part of the problem is that, okay, I'm going to complain about my job again for a minute. Since I got moved out of my nice private office and into a shared office space, I can't do what I used to do and like spend my lunchtimes painting, because like I feel like that's a thing my new boss will disapprove of. So if I can find a quiet space on campus to just go back to doing that on lunchtimes, I can actually make progress, but it's harder to do that. You know, and I really liked having that ability to do that, because again, having just even an hour today to work on hobby projects is kind of nice sometimes. Just like, you know, even if you've only got time to like, you know, apply a couple of base coats or maybe like, you know, do one model fully, sometimes it's nice. But yeah, so again, that's just a frustration I've got at the moment. So, you know, I'll find some time to get the rest of my Space Marine army fully painted at some point. And for the record, I could entirely have turned up with proxies and they wouldn't have cared. This was a very low key, very friendly, event, and I'm grateful for that. So yeah, I lost ultimately, which so I did actually realize towards the end that I had completely forgotten one of the rules of my army, specifically my detachment rule. So I should have been even more horrifically, awful in melee combat, because that's what custodies do. And I also made a bunch of tactical mistakes I wouldn't have made if I was a little more practiced and experienced. But hey, first time running a game in 10th, or playing a game in 10th, and I enjoyed it. That's probably going to be the only game of 10th I ever play, because I suspect by the next time I'm in a position to play, 11th will be out.
Sorry.
Because it's probably coming this summer.
Sorry.
Honey, that's not me criticizing you.
I really wanted you to have this experience, and I hope it was fun.
It was. Again, we ended up having to rush to the end a little bit just because there was a 6 o'clock game that we wanted to get to, which, again, that frequently happens, especially at a casual event.
Yeah, this was technically slated for, I think, an extra half an hour, which I figured there would be time. So you couldn't actually sign up for the 6 o'clock event because corporate events, I do get why it does this, doesn't let you cross time slots.
Yes.
Which is something I do have mixed feelings about. Like, obviously, you shouldn't be able to sign up for a time slot that's like, the exact same time. That's just,
yeah.
You shouldn't do that. But at the same time, I will admit, most games don't actually go to time in most cons. Like, most will have a time slot and then typically end a little bit early.
Yeah.
So
some wiggle room would be nice, like maybe a half-hour grace period or something like that. But again, these are minor criticisms and complaints.
And tabletop events does this too. So
sometimes. So tabletop's weirdly inconsistent to the point where I think it might be the cons themselves that decide whether or not they allow it.
Yeah, well, look, tabletop gamers really hate no-shows at tables and complain about it a lot. So
yeah,
which I don't care that much about it.
Yeah. But again, because at Origins last year when we were doing tickets, it wouldn't even let me register for one particular game we wanted to do because my Mass Effect game that I was running ended at the time that it was due to start. It was I think it was 12 till 2, and the game we wanted to do was 2 until whatever. And
they did fix that eventually.
Good.
It took a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And this is a small con. Generally, if you're one person, you can probably just go to a table and ask, which is what we did, and it was fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, basically, we went to that particular table and said, hey, she's got a ticket, I don't. Is there still a seat available? And we were told, yeah, sure. Here you go.
It's worth noting at this con, all the tickets were entirely virtual. Some cons will do print-off tickets where they have specific tickets you can hand GMs. Origins does that. Gen Con does that. A lot of the smaller gaming conventions just kind of do.
Yeah.
Again.
You
really need physical tickets.
Yeah, printing the tickets is frequently not necessary. Yeah. So.
If anyone's lying about having the ticket, most systems will let you see who signed up as a GM and you just ask for it.
Yeah. Doesn't usually cause any problems.
But also, I've never seen anyone lie about that because
why would they? Yeah. So yeah.
So we signed up for this. This was a 5e 2024 game.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I will admit, this was a level 1 adventure. I did not notice any difference between. I think we both exclusively played 2015. Mm-hmm. As a level 1 adventure, I noticed no difference at all.
I think there are definitely a bunch of differences in character creation.
Yes.
But in terms of just because they were pre-prepped character sheets, we just picked character sheets and went, okay, yep, that's basic, cool. We know how to do this.
Yeah, the main difference, as I understand it, is 2024 doesn't attach the same rigid rules to species, so you can kind of play any classes, any species, which I'm happy about. So.
Yep.
And they also call it species now, which
as opposed
also probably easier.
As opposed to race, which
it's more accurate.
It feels like a better choice. Again, it's a relatively minor tweak, but yeah. I know there are some very vociferous arguments online about the differences between 2014 and 2024.
We didn't notice really enough to comment. This
no.
was a 5e game. There wasn't a lot on this time slot, and it was a fairly standard level 1 adventure.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that honestly was most exciting is we had a new player at the table.
We did. We had somebody who I think has played a little bit, but not terribly much.
Yeah, it was also, by looking at them, I'm not going to guess their age because that's sort of young.
Yeah.
And old enough to be at the table by themselves, but still pretty young.
Yeah, and they freely admitted they were at least in part wanting to get some practice in so they could potentially GM for their friends.
Which is very awesome.
Kind of love that. So, yeah. So you picked which one did you pick? You picked the Warlock.
Warlocks are easy.
Yep, I picked the Wizard. Wizards are fun sometimes. You also had a Barbarian and a Cleric, thank you.
And we let them pick first.
Yeah.
If you're new to D&D, you should be able to pick a class.
Yep.
And the person with the Barbarian just had a level 1 Barbarian that they prepared, which for level 1 characters, I'm honestly fine with. Like, no one can min-max the hell out of a level 1 character.
It's possible, but it's like, you know.
And it was like a level 1 starting adventure. Generally, I think for this point for us, just in virtue of what it is always going to be a little bit boring.
I think boring's overstating it. It's unsurprising. Yeah. I think is the best way to.
If you play D&D, there's not a lot of ways you can write a level 1 adventure because they're ultimately for what this one person at the table I think was looking for and hopefully got, which is an intro to the game.
Yes, and I think this was a good intro to the game.
Yes.
For slightly more experienced people, maybe a little basic, but like again,
it was
well run.
Like it made sense. It told a story. It was linear. Like this is a great, I think, one-shot for players.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are experienced, you can guess what we fought because it's the thing that you fight when you're level 1.
Again, things you fight when you're level 1. It's either basic creatures like wolves, goblins, or some low-level undead.
Or kobolds.
Sometimes kobolds.
We're also kind of goblins.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be one of those, largely because those are one of the few things you can fight without them insta-killing you.
Yeah.
Because again, I was a wizard. I had 7 hit points, which weirdly was not the smallest amount of hit points I had that weekend.
Yeah, that was
all with that GM. We'll talk about that. But yeah, so like 7 hit points is extremely squishy. Like level 1 PCs are very, very vulnerable.
Yeah, there's a lot of debate, I think, in the D&D community right now about what level you should actually start players and parties.
New players, you start them at level 1.
Yep.
If your players are even slightly experienced, take them straight to level 3. That's where the actual interesting stuff happens.
Well, like, I don't know. I feel like level 1 is something that is useful for a table group that hasn't worked together before, because a lot of what you're trying to figure out at their levels is how to work together as a table.
Okay, fair.
So, like, even if you've all played before, I think it can be useful. That said, if you're like role playing and like getting along and stuff like that, will probably bump you up to 3 pretty quick. Yeah.
Again, there's a reason why the Mass Effect 5e game I run at cons, I use level 3 PCs.
Yeah.
I just
for cons one-shots, I will say that like for anyone who's experienced the game, you should have a higher level PC to work on. This was meant to be an introductory game to D&D. That was how it was advertised.
Yes, it was flat stated to be an intro game, designed to like help teach new players. I think it was good for that.
Yes. I will say I signed up mostly because I'm like, the reason we signed up was in part just because I played 2014 D&D. I hadn't played 2024 D&D, and they are different. I will say that the differences in terms of like playing a level 1 character were not variable. Not that I really learned anything about the new system and can't comment on it, but I had fun.
Yeah.
And that's not the GM's fault, obviously. That's just the differences between, I think, 2014 and 2024, mostly in character creation. There's slight variances in character abilities, but it's mostly character creation. Yeah.
And again, it's worth noting that like both of us were playing character classes we don't play that often.
Yeah.
You like Warlocks fine, but you don't play them that often.
I played a Warlock a couple times, but not in a long-term campaign.
Yeah, and like Wizards are okay, but I prefer having heavy armor. Like I'm a paladin at heart.
Eldritch Blast, Eldritch Blast, Eldritch Blast.
Smite.
I was so tired and still sick, so I'm just like, a Warlock is easy to play.
Yes.
They do that. It's most of what they do.
Yes, they blast.
Especially level up at level 1.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yep, you blasted cast.
I didn't Witch Bolt though.
You did Witch Bolt at one point.
Yeah, it was a basic adventure, but the real fun at this table I think came from seeing this person come to life as a D&D player.
Yeah, you gave them the advice to like take a basic character concept, maybe pick an accent, focus on like 1 or 2 character traits initially, and just roll with it. And they did that, and they did a very good job of it. Like, they came up with a character concept reasonably quickly, and they stuck to it. And they did a good job with that character. I defaulted to okay, elf wizard.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a dick with a charisma of 8. Okay, yeah, he's an arrogant dick.
Yep.
I can work with that.
In level 1, you're also probably playing tight a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we built it. I was like, kind of crazy, sassy warlock when I wasn't really going against tropes either.
Yep, the barbarian was big and angry.
Yep. But it's how level 1 characters work. So it was cute. It was easy. It was we did finish early, which I think again we were grateful for because it
Yeah.
started at 6 and we left at 8:30 and wanted to get home.
Yes. Which again, I think was at least in part because there was definitely some role playing. There wasn't a massive amount of role playing at that table.
No. Well, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for us to interact with NPCs in any meaningful way, which I would have liked to see at least a little bit more of a level 1 adventure. Maybe some checks for persuasion and stuff like that, just make it a bit more interesting.
Yeah, maybe. Which again, like minor tweaks and criticisms for that. It's mostly just you and I are very roleplay happy. Like we know that we are very much roleplay focused people.
Well, I also would have liked to, I think, have seen a couple more clues about like what it was built to. Like we understood what it was pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm being a little bit vague. Like this is a venture that if you're in the area, you probably will play at some point.
Yep.
This GM runs a lot. But like I would have liked some more clues to like figure out the mystery and the stuff behind it.
I sort of agree with you, but again,
it was a very well run adventure.
Yep. So at that point, we went the heck home.
Yep. And then we came back.
And then we came back.
The next day.
The next day. That one we had to get up at 7 for.
Yes.
Because, so which ball gown were you wearing that you got ready in like less than 20 minutes?
Well, I was tired and was just like, the heck, what was I wearing?
The Alice gown, the new one.
The new Alice gown.
The full ball gown version.
I think I put one wig on, short one, just have one.
Yep.
And, out the door.
Yep. Got on the road, 2.5 hours, bloody blue. So once again, I don't think I dropped you off. Because we got there early enough that day, because we got there just before 10.
This was Sunday.
This was Sunday,
Yeah,
so there were so there were actual parking spots, which I deliberately took. That worked fine. A parking spot is a parking spot. I think this one was like 2 rows back, which is fine. So we walked in together. It continued to be cold as proverbial nonsense.
Yep.
So it was our first game, Very Good Dogs at Chernobyl.
It was.
Yeah.
So this was a game that originally had 4 people, but I think the other 2 people dropped. Mm-hmm. So we were the only people at the table.
Yes.
Like we still played it.
We did.
I will say it is kind of hard to play a game just jamming your spouse.
Yes.
Like we know each other, we know each other's tropes inside out. So it's not that we can't play a game together, but it is.
It helps to have more people to bounce off of.
Yeah, it's not going to quite hit the highs of collaborative storytelling with other people. Just all the time together.
Yeah.
Jim was nice.
He was. We ended up starting about half an hour late because this was slated for a 5-hour time slot, and I'm gonna be honest, with just the 2 of us there, we knew there was almost no chance of it going that long.
Yeah, especially given the system. I think with a few more players based on the other game we played, that same GM, so only a couple GMs it's gone.
Yeah.
If we had more players, it probably could have lasted at least another hour or 2. But,
yeah. But again, so that was when we actually went and did the raffly stuff. Yes. Or did at least some of the raffly stuff. Because I
did the raffly stuff before and after because of how this game is time slated and also the less frequency of RPGs. We had this game, and then we had an evening game, and then we had a pretty long gap in the middle. So we needed to figure out what we were going to do.
So we went and did a little bit of the raffle stuff. We actually decided on a rule for ourselves for the raffle at this con, which was we chipped in $50. We got 55 tickets. This raffle had a tier where you could put in $2,000 and get something like 2,500 tickets, give or take. We were comfortable throwing 50 in. That's what we budgeted for in terms of the charity money on this one.
Yep.
Which we were completely happy with. And so we decided we would limit ourselves at this one, that nothing would get more than a single ticket. So we had to find 55 different items that we were potentially interested in winning.
Yes, and give them all exactly 1 ticket.
Yep.
Which, if you're trying to actually win anything, is a horrible strategy.
Yeah, don't do that if you actually care about winning stuff. But if you just want the excitement of maybe we'll win this thing,
yeah, it's great.
It's great.
It does make more sense if you actually attend the charity raffle, but we didn't.
We'll talk about that when we get to Monday afternoon. Yeah. But they did confirm for us that if you win a thing and aren't able to pick it up on the day, it will be getting stored at quote unquote a local game store. I'm willing to. I don't know for certain. I would not be surprised if it's that game store that they previously held the con at. and you can just like turn up and pick up your stuff, which
Yeah, and they started at 3 this afternoon. They are probably still drawing tickets.
it is not impossible. They're still going. Like they had a lot of stuff. So yeah. So lower a couple of lanes. Okay, we're good. So yeah. So we went round and we were able to find 55 things that we were potentially interested in. And it's worth noting that a lot of these items were bundles.
Yes.
And they did a very, very sensible thing here. Every single item in this charity auction had a label on it with a number. And the number corresponded to the cup that you had to put your ticket in. The cups were all positioned right next to the items, but the cups were also numbered so you could tell. And if there was a letter after the number, that meant it was all part of the same lot. So, for example, if a lot had 3 items in it, it might say 1056A, and then the cup on it would have on it 1056A to C. So you would know how many items were in it. You would know like that. So nice to know exactly what was in what lot, like what was where. Like you guys run a good charity raffle. I'll tell you that. Like that was nice. So we found a bunch of weird and interesting stuff to put tickets into. Some stuff was definitely more popular than others, like the Wingspan game, which is a like dragon-themed spin-off of Wingspan.
Yeah.
Like that had a lot of tickets in its cup.
Yeah. Yeah, most of it was board games. There were a couple of like random things.
Yep, they had a few Warhammer models and stuff. Like I do not know where the heck they get all their donations from, but good job. Jesus. So yeah, so there was a few various bits and bobs. We probably won't win anything because again, we did not use an optimal tactic.
No, it's just tactics. We want to have fun, like figuring things out. That was our entertainment. The fun of like trying doing that challenge was the fun of the tickets. So I'm very happy.
Yeah.
And it's going to be charity. Like we're not trying to like win anything from this gauntlet.
No, like if we win something in the raffle, great. If we don't, oh well. Yep. We gave money to a good cause and we're happy with that fact. So yeah. So then we went back to the table for the game we'd been planning on. So yeah, this was about 10:30. It was theoretically supposed to start at 10, but we figured we'll give potential other players time to turn up. Nobody else turned up.
Yep.
So yeah. So this particular game was the Very Good Dogs of Chernobyl.
Which I had no idea what to expect from this, because dogs seem silly, Chernobyl seems serious. So.
Yep. And this was a polymorph game.
Yep.
We really like polymorph games generally. We own several of them. We've played a bunch of them. Polymorph is a deliberately very simple system mechanically, where you will only roll a single die the entire game, and what die that is determined effectively by your character class to all intents and purposes. So for example, and what numbers you need to roll in order to succeed change based on what type of test you are doing. So, for example, in this game, senses, if you wanted to succeed on a sense roll, you had to roll either a 2 or a 3. Which, if you are the dog class that's rolling a D10, that's not very likely. If you're the dog class that's rolling a D4, that's pretty likely. Yeah, whereas heart, that's 5 through 9. And if you are the dog class that's rolling a D4, you ain't passing that.
Yeah. This one, I don't think it had a natural mechanic where, like, the top of your die was crit or the bottom die, like, allowed you to succeed in some ways. Because a lot of things, like, the top of your dice are 12 and always 1, have mechanics where you can, like, sing and stuff like that. There's other, like, weird things that can happen. Those tend to be more in the lighter games.
Yes. Yeah, so, for example, in the Princess RPG, which is the same system, if you roll a 1, your pet in some way comes to help you out and succeed at the task.
Which means basically you have a 4 in the Princess RPG you can't fail, which is good because that's the die kids are going to pick the most anyway because it's magic. So.
Yep. Yeah. So what did we think of this one?
It was interesting. I will say, like, we were just playing with each other. We didn't wind up playing 2 dog characters each, so I think kind of also got intermixed being just 1 dog character each at various points.
Yeah, like that usually happens if you try to play multiple characters. Like It did mean we had a fully balanced party, which was useful, but it's hard to roleplay two characters. It just is.
Particularly because it's hard to tell, like, I can only do so many voices, so I think sometimes you mixed up the two characters I was talking about and stuff like that. And not a fault of the GM that they were having printer problems, and the com was also having printer problems, so we didn't have, like, official character sheets.
Yep.
Which made it even more confusing, like, which character we were looking at various points in time. Like, the polymorph really doesn't matter that much, because you have...
piece of paper will get the job done.
Yeah, but it was a bit confusing who was talking to when and stuff like that, which is on us. We all play two characters.
Yeah.
Just for party balance for the sake of other stuff.
Just to make the game a little more interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, I will admit, like, we were promised no dog death, because I could not take dog death this weekend.
No.
Particularly because we were playing dogs that we knew.
Yeah.
One of whom died recently.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Jake.
Jake, for the record, is an old golden retriever who's not our dog, but a dog on campus. Also, sorry for sensitive about dog death.
They lived a very good dog life.
They
like
amazing dog life.
they were, they were, your classic old golden, like, graying around the muzzle, like. Yeah. But again, Jake was a very good dog. I played them as the elder.
Yep.
And the other dog I was playing actually was Tyne, which was, the dog that my one of my best friend had, like, as a kid. I loved that dog.
Yeah.
She was great.
I was playing Emma.
It was our dog.
It was our dog. And Napoleon, who was a rabbit dog hybrid, who was a rabbit we saw at a rescue shelter. Not on any of our buns.
Yeah.
I could have played one of our buns.
You could have played one of our buns, but going for Napoleon as the fighty one actually made a lot of sense.
Yeah, Napoleon got a lot of gameplay, actually.
Yeah.
Although I will say, look, the game is pretty dark, and I don't really know that I would want to, like, put animals I know quite into that setting again.
In all honesty, I think the problem with this one is Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Like,
the dogs did not die, I want to emphasize.
No, the dogs came out of it okay, but like, it's mostly just a case of I like the idea of playing a dog in a polymorph system.
Chernobyl's a bit weird. It's just, it's kind of weird tonally. Like, you can do more serious games with dogs. Like, Pugmire is an example of that, where it is somewhat serious. It's a high-profile adventure, but it's still dogs.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't, like, grim dark with dogs just doesn't quite work for me as an economy.
Yeah. And again, like, the GM was very good about respecting boundaries.
Yeah, like, we were very clear no dog death.
Yeah.
There was no dog death.
Yeah.
It also got to be the point where there, like, wasn't really a solution, and the game kind of just, the solution we were trying very clearly wasn't going to work, so we had to pivot to this other solution, and it just, I don't know. The ending didn't really feel quite as satisfying as I wanted it.
Yeah. Which, again,
I don't really think that's anyone's fault. That's just, the system I don't think is quite right for us.
Yeah.
And two people at the table makes me have less people kind of bounce off of it. Solution fine. We're also tired. Right?
Yeah.
We hadn't been sleeping well. It was an early morning game, and it's just, it is kind of hard to repeat two characters with somebody you know pretty constantly, because, like, you're not getting much new. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, you and I, like, when you're a dog owner, you just, your dog has a voice.
Yeah.
It just does. And frequently you will just, like, act out what you think they would say. Like, we do that all the time, with Emma. So, yeah, I do agree with you on that standpoint. Yeah, like, again, I don't think the system's, like, bad or anything. It's definitely not one of my favorite polymorph things. And I think that mostly just comes down to Chernobyl was a weird choice.
Yeah, I will admit it's kind of not, dogs in Chernobyl just doesn't work. Dogs in other settings work. Chernobyl, I think, also works. I just think combining the two just doesn't quite work.
Yeah, like, again, I would absolutely own a copy of this and run it at cons. I would just not set, I would set it somewhere else, and I would lighten up the tone of it.
Yeah.
Like, the rules mechanics, I think, are perfectly fine and functional. But, again, it was okay.
And, like, I will admit that not everyone has the same attitudes towards dogs. Dogs are obviously really important to us. We own dogs, so, like, playing our own dog in a grim dark setting, I don't want our dog in a grim dark setting.
Yeah. We want her getting love and snuggles and pets.
Yeah.
And as many treats as she wants. Actually, if it was as many treats as she wants, it would be the entire bag, which is not allowed. But,
So after that, we had a pretty awkward gap, so we first finished putting tickets to the raffle.
Yep. Then we were just like, okay, we've got like 4 hours to kill at this point until the 6 o'clock game.
So you got food.
I got food.
Board game room briefly.
Yep.
I was asked about the cosplay contest again. Actually, that was yesterday, the day before. This was Sunday.
Yep. So yeah, 8 again, burger, slice of pizza, perfectly fine and functional.
And again, we did see some people do from other cons this weekend. If we seemed a little bit off of it this weekend, and hopefully this podcast is why.
Yeah, it's the health stuff.
Yeah.
It's been a rough month, and it's going to be rough few weeks at least.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
of course.
What?
Really? Why did they do this? In-person classes will be held on a remote schedule until 10 a.m. I knew they were going to freaking do this.
Okay.
So for those of you who understand how universities work,
your class starts at 9:30.
University classes start at particular time periods. So if they start at 10 a.m., that means that my class starts at 9:30 a.m. They've closed the campus till 10 a.m. What on earth am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
Like, do I cancel class? Do I ask them to come in at 10 a.m.? It's just stupid.
Yeah, especially given that the person who sent out this should know when classes start. Pick either 9:30 or 11. Oi.
Now I've got to go send out an informational email and figure that out. So thanks, Provost.
Thanks, Provost.
At least they send it out in enough time. I'm going to get so many emails about this because they're going to be so confused. And I can't send an announcement until I get home because I can't access the learning management software from my phone. So, yay that.
Yay. Yeah, in case you're wondering, we both just got text messages about it.
Yes.
I'm using my phone for navigation. I've got Google Maps up, but I saw the text alert ping.
Yep. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see what that means in terms of, I suspect I'll still have to go in at 8. Yes. So we'll figure it out. But anyway, so where were we? Oh yeah. So at that point, we just figured, let's have a look in the Blood in the Clock Tower room, because Blood in the Clock Tower was a game we kind of decided we didn't like and didn't want to play, and then we went to Con Alt Delete a month back and had a really fantastic time playing it. We're like, okay, maybe Blood on the Clock Tower is actually decent.
And I think now we're kind of in between those two positions.
No, now we have realized a few things about it.
Yeah.
Which I think we'll discuss our thoughts on Blood on the Clock Tower that we've learned having done it in these two scenarios, and we'll do that at the end.
Okay. So what do you want to do for this portion if we're doing that at the end?
Well, we'll talk about the games themselves.
Okay. So the first game we did the basic. So Blood on the Clock Tower is a social deduction game. If you're not familiar, it has a lot of very, very, very big group of fans who just adore it. Mm-hmm. Which even when we really liked it, those great games, we're still not in that category.
No.
I understand why people like it. It's a social deduction game that gives you more to do than stuff like Werewolf or Secret Hitler. Yeah. But like most social deduction games, it is going to eventually devolve into shouting, because they always do. Blood on the Clock Tower is also designed to be run at cons a lot of the time. It has a variable number of people who can play, and a lot of different roles to be thrown.
Yes, a lot. So specifically there's something like 120 roles at this point, or it might be more than that now. So
a lot of, because it's so big, people also homebrewed their own rules and stuff like that. It's expanded. So
yeah. So the way that it balances is that it has a series of what are referred to as scripts, and each script will basically give you a particular combination of roles, and the roles break into 4 categories, which is villagers, outsiders. Villagers and outsiders are both on the good team. Villagers have potentially useful powers. Outsiders have lousy powers that are going to screw the good side over. Then there are minions who are on the evil team, who usually have at least something useful, and the demon. And the demon is, the main villain of the book. And depending on how many players there are, determines how many of each type there are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first game we did was a Trouble Brewing script, which is the basic. It's designed to be the most straightforward, the most simple, and it's still it's still complicated compared to a lot of other hidden role games.
Yeah, and I will say one of my complaints generally about Clock Tower is just because you have new people, which you're pretty much always going to have in a con game space. It takes like half an hour just for them to go over the rules.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but it does, like, as somebody who doesn't like fitted around, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it bogs it down a little, which, again, like, if there are new people, that's fair.
Like, keep in mind, like, everyone does get a list of all the roles and what they do, which is essential.
Yeah.
It is not optional.
Yeah.
You need that.
You need to know what every role that is potentially in play is. And the other thing to note is that each script will have more roles than there will be in play.
Yes.
Like, especially when you get to some of the more complicated ones, they will have like 4 potential options for what the demon might be. And you have no idea which of those 4 it is. There will only ever be one demon, I believe. But there could be, like, you have options, and some of them have like really nasty powers.
And yeah, I will say the other thing that is nice is that it does balance a bit more for evil, because I will say, as somebody who, like, doesn't terribly like playing evil and social deduction games, Blood on the Hunter does make it easier, because the roles that some of the roles that aren't in play, particularly the good team get to see. So if you're like a demon or something like that, or if you can give a roll off to a minion, you can then claim a role that no one's taken, so you're not in immediate contradiction with another person. Which is nice.
Yeah, the demon basically gets shown 3 roles that are not currently in play, so they have a legitimate thing they can claim to be off the bat.
Yeah.
And therefore 2 more roles that they can hand off to their minions. And one of the advantages of Clock Tower is that it's a game that lets you, like, during the day phase, if you want to stand up, go over to a player and say, I want a word, and like take them off for a private conversation where other people can't hear, you can do that.
Yes.
Usually. We'll talk about that. But yeah.
So the first game we played, and we're going to describe this a bit before, it's really worth watching playthroughs if you're all interested, because I'm sure it sounds very confusing if you don't play. For the first game, we had just a general kind of mixed table. It was beginner's adventure, and it was with some new people who hadn't played before, some people who've been there that have been dragged by their friends. And I think it's kind of the reality of playing at a con is, if you just walk up to a random table, there are going to be a lot of people there.
Yep.
Some of you haven't played before. Some of whom don't really want to be there.
Yep.
We encountered that.
Yeah, there were multiple people at that table who I don't actually think wanted to be there.
Yeah, and occasionally, look, we were actually having conversations about cheating a little bit earlier today. Like, if you're fudging a dice roll that you kind of need to succeed in D&D, I don't really consider that cheating. Fine. Like, the story's just going to stop if your character doesn't succeed in that roll, so it's fine if you fudge it so they succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that, fine. But if you're like, part of the problem with kids in social deduction games is they do kind of tend to cheat, even though cheating in a social deduction game is stupid.
Yep.
Like, it's not going to be fun for you if you cheat.
Yeah, like the person next to you who was on the younger side, I don't know exactly how young, was actively looking in the bag. Because again, they do the bunch of tokens go in the bag gets handed around, you take one, and that, and that's your roll. They were actively looking in the bag and like shaking it to see stuff in it, and they ended up being the demon. And I don't think that was an accident. I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
So I do think they kind of cheated to give themselves the role they wanted. Which
the storyteller, the person who's facilitating this game, because there's a lot of chaos that happens.
Yeah.
Day phases, night phases, and stuff like that. Noticed and asked them to stop, and I still don't think that solved that problem.
No.
But again, that it's hard to like confront people and talk about that.
Yeah, like they did stop when they were told to stop, but then they reached in and got to the demon. So like, might have been a coincidence. Don't think it was.
And keep in mind, the game cap is 15. Both of the games we played were huge.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah. And that's kind of the problem.
Yeah. 15 is just too many for this.
Yeah.
And I will also say, like, in the kids' defense, another criticism I've had of Clock Tower, and I think I mentioned this in the conversation, some of the roles just suck.
Yep.
Like, they're miserable to play. They're there to be foils to help the villain team, which means you don't do anything.
Yep.
And you're basically just a red herring the entire game.
Yeah, if you get an outsider role, it mostly just sucks.
Yeah.
Because like most of them aren't fun to play.
Yes.
And as a result, you tend to just have a crappier game than everybody else. Which is just kind of disappointing and annoying. So if you pull an outsider, it's like, oh, great, because I'm not going to have as much fun this game. Like, I get why they're there mechanically. Like, they are a good balancing mechanic, bloody blue. They're just not interesting.
Yep.
So again, that game was fine. It was just very overfull.
It was overfull. Half the people there did not want to be there. Some of them were actively like complaining about the game while they were playing it because they weren't having fun, which is valid. Sometimes you try stuff and it's not fun.
Yep.
And there was a lot of dead weight at the table.
Yep. And there was a lot of very random stuff, like people just okay. At Con Alt Delete, anytime somebody was, as the game puts it, put on the block and accused, there was a reason for it that made sense.
Yeah.
Here, half the time people were just like, why did you nominate them to get executed? I don't like their face. Okay, that's not a... Explain your reasoning within the logic of the game, please, because otherwise it feels like you're just not playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened a lot. There was a lot of confusion about it. This is somewhat of the reality of the con game, is I think you're going to have to deal with people who are doing stuff randomly, people who don't want to be there, and children who are probably cheating.
Yep.
And if you're willing to deal with all that, I think it still could be fun, but I will admit it was just kind of chaotic and okay for me as an experience.
Yeah. But we had enough fun that we figured, we'll hang around for the for another game.
Well, the other game is using a different role system, and we've played 4 or 5 games at this point, so let's maybe use the next one. And that said, I do think there's tier rankings in if Trouble Brewing, which is the baseline script, is a 1 in terms of complexity. There are scripts that are 2 or 3 levels of complexity, and then there's what we leapt into,
which is probably a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, it was very complicated.
Yeah. A lot of synergy and a lot of stuff flying around.
Yep. I still don't understand half of what happened in that game.
Yeah, you won though.
I did win.
You witch, you.
And I told him, but it's easy to fool.
Yeah, well, I trust you because I love you.
Yeah.
Which makes me very easy to fool.
I said some stuff, I also had to backtrack at one person and say I made a mistake because I was contradicting another evil player and had to pretend to have a conversation with the storyteller about a mistake that I didn't actually make, which was hilarious.
Yeah, you basically had to blame the storyteller for accidentally messing something up,
which
you got away with largely because the storyteller messed a couple of things up that game.
Yeah, most of which was other stuff that I did that he messed up. So I feel like it's fair play that benefited me because it also screwed me over because I had to have a silent conversation with somebody about why somebody was not dead at one point.
Yep.
So
yeah.
This was the most fun for me, but I will admit, being on the evil team in Blood on the Clock Tower is fun because what I do like about Blood on the Clock Tower is that because it's a game where you can go off and talk to people, it gets you to be social with people that you otherwise wouldn't be social with. It gives you something to talk about with those people.
Yeah.
It gives you a bond with those people, and I really like that. It's like an experience.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. Whereas I've never played evil in my game. I've always been stuck with good. I want to play evil at some point. I just haven't had the opportunity
to. Which is weird because I don't ever particularly want to. So yeah. Yeah, the witch at least was a fairly non-complex evil character. So,
yep.
And I killed a lot of people.
You killed 3 people as the witch in 3 rounds.
Yep.
You didn't miss once.
Yep. I felt bad for the first person. Because I actually had somebody I was planning to target for the first round when I got my role, but they wound up being evil because if you're on the evil team, you find out who else is on the evil team. Well, I can't target them. I'm just going to target the person next to me. The witch kills somebody. If the witch chooses somebody, then if that person nominates somebody to be executed the next round, they die. And he, of course, was the first person to do that. Yep. He didn't actually die, which I feel like is worse than just dying immediately.
Yeah.
He died in the next round because he nominated somebody.
Yeah, he died late because the storyteller forgot he was supposed to do that.
Yep.
So yeah. Again, in all honesty, I think the big problem we had with both of these games was just 15 is too goddamn many people. It just is. I genuinely think Blood on the Clock Tower should cap at 12.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it works with more than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's most of it. Sorry, I was getting back on it. I was just kind of letting you talk.
That's fine.
It was just a little bit chaotic. I will also say, after you win, particularly if you're the evil team, please don't go up to somebody and say that you knew it was them the entire time, or that they said something bad, 4 rounds earlier that tipped you off to them. That's just kind of...
It feels like sour grapes.
Yeah, a little bit. Especially if you're on the same team. Which did happen in that. And it's just don't do stuff like that. This was my first time playing. I was extremely proud of myself for doing that well, given how complex the story was and how I was trying to figuring out how to lie when you barely understand how any of the rules work and aren't familiar with them is really hard, okay?
Yeah.
And I sold it well on the you believe me.
Yep.
And no one else has like even targeted me the entire game, so I'm proud of myself.
Pretty much. Like,
yeah, I do like the script a lot. I do want to play with these more complex scripts more, but I do agree with you that I think 15 is just too many.
It's too many.
Yeah. That said, the game ended quickly because I think like by the last round there was like a auto win condition for the villains that we won, and there were also of the 6 people alive, 4 of them were evil. So
yeah.
It wasn't terribly hard.
Yeah, the minions found the damsel.
Yeah.
So yeah. So at that point, we headed over to our 6 o'clock Pirate Borg game.
Yeah.
This was actually with the same GM as the D&D game for the previous night. So Pirate Borg, it's a game where you're playing pirates. Yeah. So yeah, like
R.
We should do this entire bit of the podcast with gratuitous West Country accents.
R. That won't get annoying at all.
Yeah, yeah, we're not doing that. But yeah. So Pirate Borg is a spin-off of Mork Borg, and as the name implies, you are playing a bunch of pirates. For this one, Mork Borg is kind of an older school style of game, so they want you to roll as much as possible on your character sheet, which is what we did. We rolled characters randomly at the table. I'm not a massive fan of rolling random characters completely randomly.
It works in some games. If you're playing a pure comedy game, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, something like Cobalt Save My Baby, yeah, sure.
Like, for Sentai and Sensibility, where the rolls don't actually matter all that much, fine. You can roll elements. My thing is just you shouldn't have to roll every single thing.
Yep.
Like, roll some stuff, sure. But you wound up with 1 HP.
Yes,
like, you should not roll one. Like, in a game where you have to do any sort of serious combat, like death is a possibility, a character should not begin with 1 HP.
Yep.
It just doesn't make any sort of sense.
Yeah. So yeah, my character ended up being a swashbuckler with 1 hand and 1 health point. That was great.
Yep.
You were a sorcerer?
Yeah, I think I was a sorcerer. I had 7 HP. That's cool. And yeah, I got to summon stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And again, the character creator I think is perfectly fine. I don't feel like we got a chance to like flavor the characters terribly much.
They did have some flavored text you can add, but this was with the previous GM, who I think focuses a little bit more on story than RP, so there wasn't as much pirate flavor to that.
Yeah.
And you were asking me, I think last night, about like Pirate Borg as a system. And I will say there's not enough like mechanics that feel explicitly piratey in it generally.
Yeah, I'd kind of agree with you. Like, again, there's some good flavor text, but mechanically speaking, it doesn't actually. I don't know.
Yeah, this was another late night game. It'd been a long day. I was just sick during this game, which was not the GM's fault, but I was pretty sick.
Yeah, we basically agreed at about the 6:30 mark that we were probably going to go to 8 and then need to tap. We did end up staying until about 8:10, 8:15 because it was
clear we had the climax at that point.
Yeah, we could tell we were close to the end at that point. We were like, okay, we'll push through to the end.
And this was mildly fun. I don't think it's the right system for us though.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, it was very, very like roll happy and relatively little RP, which I think it's just different people want different things out of TTRPGs, and that's not a problem.
Yeah, I just don't tend to like the kind of point and click adventure style of RPGs where it's like, I do this, I roll to C, I do this, I roll to C, I check over here, I roll to C. It's a little bit kind of taxing on me, but it was pretty sick at this point, so I was kind of taking a backseat a little bit.
Yeah. With that said, like the GM did do it. Like he deliberately tried to bring you in at a couple of points. Like
the GM does do. I will say the GM does do a good job of noticing when players are quiet, because that also happened once the game before we played with them. He does a very good job of trying to bring people in and try and get them to do something and cutting action back and forth between different people to give them different things.
Yeah. Again, especially if you do the dumb thing and split the party, which of course we did at one point. He did do a good job of like going back and forth, so you didn't end up with like one group being focused on for half an hour and then the other group being focused on for half an hour. Like doing the back and forth was good. Like I like this GM. I think they're good. Like it's mostly just I don't think that's the system for us.
Yeah. Well, I will say it was cute because when we finished the adventure, we got little pirate treasures out of a treasure chest at the end. That was very, very cute.
That was
stuff like
that was very thematic. We appreciated that.
Yeah,
that was great.
And the thing is, that just works with any age group. Like if you get like cute little pirate nude souvenirs at the end, everyone of every age is gonna love that. So,
Yeah.
It was very, very fun.
Yep. So yeah.
Yeah, this was cute. It was a nice adventure. I will say the time about it was about right. I think about a 2 hour time.
Yeah, about 2.5 hours. Yeah. I think that was perfectly acceptable for it. You know, we got we got the booty.
R.
Anyway. So yeah.
I wish we could just keep you saying that with it.
R. Anyway.
This was a cute game. Another thing I will say, just on a quick note of players generally, and we had very, very great players this weekend. It's kind of I was sick, so things that annoy me like mildly were annoying me a little bit more than they otherwise would have been at that particular time period.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things is just, if you're a player at a table, I rapidly prefer it if you like ask other players at the table what you should do or what we should collectively do rather than just doing something.
Yep.
Because it's a collaborative storytelling game. You should decide kind of as a party.
Yeah, so a little less, oh, I immediately do this, rolls dice.
Yeah,
you know, a little more,
should we do this?
Yeah. You know, like, again, if it's in combat and it's your turn, yeah, you don't need to ask the party's permission. Yeah. You do whatever you would do in that moment. But, like, if your player character is currently unconscious because they failed an athletics test and immediately hit their head and lost their 1 hit point, literally, that was the first thing that happened to me in the game. It was great. Then fine. But if you're in that situation where the party's meant to be like collaborating, figuring out what they're all going to do as a group, then it can be a little feels bad for the other players if you're like kind of dragging them along without asking. Sometimes that's useful, but generally speaking, it's just kind of annoying. And again, not calling any specific individual out or anything like that. There was just a couple of light moments of it, and as you said, like, it's something that gets on your nerves a little bit, and you're quite sensitive at the moment. Fair? Yeah, overall, we had fun. Perfectly fine game. I don't think Pirate Borg as a system we'll seek out, but
it was cute.
It was cute.
I still don't know a pirate system that I really like yet. We've tried a couple, and none of them quite worked. So I'm just see if I can find one that's pirates that I like.
And in all honesty, I have a suggestion for you, the one you could homebrew, but
maybe.
So,
should we move on to today?
I think so. So, yep, at that point, drove home, got some sleep, drove back. So, got on the road again at 7 a.m. this morning. What are you wearing today?
I wanted to do something a bit lighter today, just because I didn't know if we were doing anything after or whatever. We're not. We're just going home, just roll smart, but So I'm just wearing a sparkly lilac dress, which is the first of several gowns that I have in this color.
Yep.
Thank you for pushing me to wear this one. I was worried it was not going to fit. It's a couple sizes too big on me, but you got it fit, so good job.
Yep. Again, it's a corset back, so you can cinch it a little bit easier. And you haven't worn that one in a while. Like I like that one. It's a pretty color. It did mean you were shedding glitter.
I'm always shedding glitter.
Yeah, it's fun. So but again, you look great. You've also got the white wig on. Yeah. Or the short white wig. Yep. And you look fabulous, honey. So so first game was was a 10 a.m. start, which is why again we had to be up at 7. So again, you got ready in like 20 minutes, and we got on the road. And the first game of the day was Kids on Bikes.
Kids on Bikes. There's a number of these systems now where like typically the characters are kids, as the name implies, or sometimes teens, or sometimes adults. It's basically meant to be the Stranger Things era of games. There's been a number that come out since Stranger Things was popular. I think this is the most popular of the kind of kids discover weird stuff genre. Tales from the Loop is another one.
Tales from the Loop is another one. There's a spin-off of Tales from the Loop called, what's it? Something from the Flood?
The creatures from the, things from the Flood or something.
Yeah, it's the one we played
There's
at.
also a spin-off of Kids on Bikes called the Kids on Brooms, where there's magic. These have become a thing.
Yeah.
They're fairly simple RP systems that focus on social role plays, kids acting like kids. RP is very encouraged in these systems.
Yeah.
And they can take a variety of tones.
Yes.
This one took a bit of a dark.
Yes. The mechanics in this one are relatively straightforward. We did character creation at the table rather than having pre-gens, which worked fine. Because you basically, you have half a dozen stats.
Yep.
Like brains, fighting, fleeing, or flight, which is like running away from stuff. And you basically have your like standard set of polyhedral dice, so D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, D20, and you decide which of the dice you will assign to a given stat. So if you're playing, for example, a really, really smart character, you might put the D20 on their brain score. But they're probably a bit on the weedy side, so maybe their brawn score you'll give a D4. And you have complete control over how you assign them, and the book itself has a bunch of like examples as well. Then you give them a couple of strengths, a couple of flaws, and like a few other bits and bobs, like how old they are and that kind of jazz, and then you're basically done. Nice and simple and straightforward. Gives you room to like come up with a concept. So you opted for the nerdy kid.
Yep.
I went against what I usually do. I went for the jock.
Yep.
We also had a like little girl at the table who was being played by a.
And I did not do what I normally do. I normally don't gravitate toward minority characters.
No, I didn't say you did. Okay. I said I went against type. I didn't say you went towards type.
You said that. Yeah. Other people wanted to do more social characters, and I thought it would be good. I mean, there's somebody at the table who had, I think, tried D&D once and didn't really like it. This was like your second ever RP experience.
Yes.
Pretty close to it. It's always exciting when you get a new person at the table. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. And they were great.
It's not like a serial killer when I say that.
No.
Okay.
Why would
what? Like victimizing people to RP.
No, honey.
What?
Wanting people to have fun does not make you sound like a serial killer. You weirdo.
Okay, it was really nice because they were nervous a little bit at the beginning, and like it took them, I think, the first couple turns they were kind of sorting, like about an hour into the game, they were into it. It was fantastic to see.
Yes, I did love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like slightly darker tone to this one, like very like eldritch horror.
I do wish they'd have been a bit better signposted.
Yes.
I didn't mind it because thankfully we had a table that like RP'd the way that I really wanted to RP. Where like, in addition to like the darker moments, you also got moments of kids being kids, and it was interspersed very well with each other.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this for the GM. This was the same guy who was GMing Good Dogs of Chernobyl.
Yes.
He did do a like content warning at the start and basically said, if you have a problem with any of these things, tell me and we can.
I do wonder
we
if
can
dogs
change
in
stuff.
Chernobyl, like dog death, actually was a possibility, but we didn't die just because we were just like no dog death.
He explicitly said it's technically possible in the official rules, but in that adventure it was not possible because he didn't want to do dog death.
But yeah, this was a horror system, basically. This was another one where I tried to form a social connection with the character, so I was the twin sibling to the person who was playing the precocious little girl, so...
Yep. Yeah, you basically, like, you initially suggested siblings.
Yep.
I think because it was him playing the little girl character, said, okay, well, I think I'll be 10, and you were like, well, that sounds about the right age for my character. Like, twins? And he was like, yep, great, twins.
Yep.
Fraternal.
Yep, obviously.
Yep, because you were playing a boy.
Yep. But yeah, I decided to play a boy this game. Sometimes you play different genders.
Mm-hmm.
Girls sometimes play boys a lot of them. As in RPGs for a variety of reasons, so I figured this seems like a good time to do it. So
yeah, you played one in my Blades in the Dark campaign that got like 3 sessions.
Yeah, again, I haven't played a boy in like a longer term campaign in quite a while, so I think I could probably do to play one again.
Yep. But so again, we played like the party and did all that stuff, did the adventure. Got kind of grim in a couple of places. Like, okay, put it this way: the GM freely admitted they were inspired by a certain book, and they said to me, if you know what it is, I'll give you some bonus inspiration. And I said, it's this. I won't spoil it in case we end up playing in this. And it was like, yeah, it is. And I was like, oh, we're boned. I knew at that point what the tone of the rest of it was going to be, and we were screwed.
Probably should have told me a little bit more.
Yeah, sorry.
I was a little bit confused. Like, I still didn't really realize how dark we were getting till the end. Like, oh, okay, we're going this dark. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, sorry about that. I probably should have warned you.
That's fine. Like, I got what I wanted out of the experience was the parts that are fun for me are really maybe the kids exploring being kids fun parts. The horror parts I thought were well paced and like
they were well done.
Yeah.
It's just we're not massive horror fans.
I think I've mentioned this before. I feel like horror is just an overrepresented represented genre at con games. There are a lot of con horror games.
There actually are quite a few.
And I don't mind it. It's just I want like some balance with some other stuff. Like I want like some more like maybe Goonies kids adventures as opposed to more kids adventures.
Yeah. Yeah, more Goonies than Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, which again, fine.
But it was still fun. Like this was a fantastic RPG table, and the story was brilliantly based. I will say this was a very, very good game.
Yeah, like this one went to probably about the 4.5 hour, 4:15 mark.
And it did not feel that long.
It didn't feel that long. Like, yeah, we took a couple of bio breaks and the like.
You know, and I got time to build characters because to get a new player at the table.
Yep.
I think he felt absolutely fine.
Yep. You know, I got lunch at one point just at the concession stand, but like, you know, even with those little breaks, like this was a very good, well-paced con game. Like, no criticism or complaints on that front.
And yeah, I will say the ending that we wound up getting actually worked very, very well.
It did.
Like, no one really planned it, but it did work.
Yeah.
Like, as a story, so.
Yeah, it was pretty spooky.
Yeah, and we're deliberately being a little bit vague because again, finding pattern this GM want to play this particular adventure, so we try not to go into too much details in case you happen to be listening to this. Because if you are listening to this podcast, you probably live in Ohio or somewhere nearby. You might go to tabletop games, so
yep.
Just know that we highly recommend this one.
Yes, yeah, it was very, very good. You know, for people who. The weird thing is, some of our best RP experiences have been in horror games.
Yeah.
It's mostly just, generally speaking, we like to know what we're getting into with horror games. So my only criticism for you as a GM, when you were filling out the event description, make it a teensy bit clearer that it's got to be a slightly darker horror game. That's my only real criticism. We've had that in the past from other GMs. We did a Call of Cthulhu game at one point that got super dark and needed a bunch of trigger warnings on it that weren't there. So, like, you were good once we were at the table with the warnings. Just maybe sling them in the event description online as well. And again, I think he did say that he normally has like a list of like comfort level sheets. It's just again his printer's broken.
Yeah, fair.
Valid.
And it was fun. This was an amazing table, and I really do like these types of systems. And I'm gonna check out the kids from the room. I'm hoping to play stuff that's a little bit less dark in it next time. But I do want to check out the system because I like it for this style of adventure.
Yes.
Adventures for kids.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I prefer it or Tales from the Loop, and I'll be honest, I think I prefer this one just because Tales from the Loop uses a D6 dice system where you have to get at least 1 6 to succeed, which is always kind of frustrating.
Yeah. Tales from the Loop is also, like, I'm not going to say what the loop is, but once you know what the loop is, most of the stories are centered around the loop. And that's just one storytelling device, and I kind of want to move away from that.
Yes. That's why I kind of preferred, I can't remember what it's called. It's something from the Flood. Yeah, which is
the Flood or
something like that, yeah. Which again is the spin-off.
Yeah.
Which is set a decade later, but
involves less of one specific plot device.
Yeah. Now, granted, if you're writing your own modules, you don't need to actually use that one plot device, so But yeah. So yeah, no, this was very good. Like, this was probably the best game of the weekend.
I would definitely say so.
Yeah.
This was a very strong game. I don't like ranking games. Like, we'll do that off mic maybe a little bit. This was very up there for me. I don't know if it was quite as up there for you, but it was very up there for me.
I had a lot of fun with it.
Okay.
So yeah. At that point, we were just like, okay, we could go to the raffle. Maybe we could do another game of Clock Tower.
Yeah.
what we basically decided was we'd go to the clock tower room.
And if it didn't look crowded, like there was a game of 12 people or less, we would join.
Yeah. So we did that, and there was a game of 12 people or less.
Yeah,
And
they were
we're
talking about scooting the chairs in.
yep. And we're like, okay, cool. Let's do this. Oh, they're doing one of the slightly, one of the like kind of tier 2-ish level of.
Oh, that sounds perfect for us. I'm excited.
Yeah. And then like 8 more people came into the goddamn room. Last minute.
2 while they were setting up, and then just added more rolls.
We ended up with 19 players.
Yeah. And keep in mind, the game only accommodates 15, so other people had to be traveler rolls.
Yeah.
Traveler rolls in this game are basically what they. This is designed around this idea that, like, if you're playing with a large group of people, realistically a large group of people, there's some people who are fleeting. Like, if you're setting up a game with this, there's going to be like somebody who's like, well, I have to go to my mom's house in like 5 minutes, and I don't know if I have time to play a full game.
Yep.
Travel roll is basically designed to be that person who can be in the game for like 1 or 2 rounds and then has to leave to do something else.
Yep.
Or arrives late and can't do the entire game.
Yep.
But it's not supposed to be for somebody who's there the entire time. It's
yes.
readily apparent by the traveler rolls.
Yeah, let's talk about how nonsense the traveler rolls are.
Yeah. So some of them are fine. Like one that was interesting, like one person just copies the another player that's there. Like that's fine. It's still kind of OP if they're there the entire game, but fine.
Depending on who they've copied.
Yeah. One person has its own bit more dead to vote. That one is a little bit overpowered.
A little bit, but it's interesting insofar as it basically reverses the direction of stuff.
Yeah.
But and then then there was the one that was complete nonsense, which was the matron.
Yep.
So you remember how we said earlier that one of the best things about Blood on the Clock Tower is that you can get up and talk to people privately? The matron stops you doing that.
Yep.
The matron says you're stuck in your seat.
Yep.
That sucks.
It does.
It's not fun. It actively makes the game way goddamn worse.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The entire appeal of this social deduction game is that particularly if you're on the evil team, you can game plan. So if you're a person who is playing the script for the first time and drew an evil roll and are panicking, you could maybe talk to somebody else on the evil team who knows how to play.
Yep.
That didn't happen.
Nope.
Which meant the end of the game was anticlimactic, and also I was checked out completely for the first round. It was like, you can't kill off these rolls, but no one wanted to kill off the matron except us who were abjectly miserable.
Yeah, I was pissed.
Yeah.
That roll sucked, shouldn't be in the game.
That roll sucked. They kept letting people join. 20 people was way too many. We didn't want to play with that many to begin with.
But by the time that many people turned up, we should have tapped when that many people came in, but we were like...
Well, part of the problem is because the game is so complex, it takes the person forever to set up. And by the time that many people came in, they were already starting to set up. We didn't want to make this... I didn't want to make the setup take even longer by him than having to take out rolls.
Yeah,
so,
that's pretty much why why we did not leave.
And keep in mind, this game also, with that many people, the night phases were added. Some different powers take for freaking ever.
It was a slow process.
And also, if you're asleep, sometimes the night, or don't have a power that wakes up people, the night phase it's very long, and you also have to listen to people talk. And that in and of itself is fine. But the night before the previous game, people were making howling noises. I just straight up asked them to stop because I have ear sensitivity issues, and they did. But it is just kind of hard to just kind of listen to people talk. So. Yep.
Again, sometimes people will just stay quiet throughout the night.
I don't want people talking to the person next to them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it can be fun. You can find creative ways to do it, but sometimes it's not. So.
Yep. Again, I was the Gravedigger or the Undertaker. I can't remember the name of them. If you play Blood on the Clock Tower, it's one of those two. I don't remember what it's actually called. And I was about to start miming digging in the night, and then I realized, no, wait. If I do that, anybody who wakes up is going to see me doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I guess I'm just going to lie here then. Yeah, still haven't fixed that sign, I see.
Yeah, there's a billboard that keeps hear us.
Yep.
So this game took forever. It wasn't actually that long, but it felt like it took forever.
It felt like a long time.
Put it this way, it was half the time of the previous game we played, his Mike's game, and it felt way longer.
Yeah.
I was just not having fun during this one. I had some fun during the last two. This one I was just here.
So yeah, I think now having played more Clock Tower, There are two things that make Clock Tower work. One is having a good group of people who are actually interested in playing the game.
Yeah, it's called Blood on the Clock Tower. Realistically, there should be about 12 people.
Yep. That is the correct amount of people for a Clock Tower game. Yeah. It's 12. More than that, and it's too goddamn many. Yeah. 12 I think is the upper practical maximum where everybody can actually like remember who the like. There were plenty of people around those tables who we never spoke to.
Yeah. I still don't have. I can't even remember who half of them were.
Yeah. Because again, 15 people is too many. 19 is goddamn insane. The game just breaks at that point. And it didn't help really that I don't know to what extent a lot of those people even really wanted to be playing it.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of people who didn't seem to be trying to play the game. They were just
randomly accusing people, which happens, and then. But again, we think with the more advanced scripts, at least that we would actively want to play.
Yep.
A lot of times they don't seem to. Like towards the end of the game, we had figured out who the demon was, and we were like the only two people who seemed to be remotely concerned with it.
Yeah. Like the good team ended up winning. To continue your 100% streak of being on the winning side of Clock Tower, whether you're good or evil. The good team did end up winning, but a decent chunk of that was because I was pointing at the demon because I seemed to be the only person who'd bothered acquiring any evidence of who the demon was. Because the table talk didn't ever seem to be pointing in the direction of trying to figure that out. Yeah. Weird. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think part of it again is just because we couldn't form alliances or talk to each other during the early game, which is really freaking important. Mm-hmm. No one had any camaraderie with each other up until that point because we were stuck in our seats.
Yep. So yeah, that game was kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
But again, it really has shown to us that Clock Tower is something that, if I see that group from Connaught to lead again, I will absolutely goddamn play Clock Tower with you.
Yeah. I think I will try in a smaller group. I do not want to play in a group of 20.
Yeah.
There's too much dead weight. There's kids running around. I will say the kid who was playing in that last game was very nice. But, it's just, there's too much stuff that's happening that isn't the game and isn't just... If they claim to be better than Werewolf, they should actually be better than Werewolf, which is just, again, we just point at people and then randomly talk about who the monster is with no information. That last game and a couple of the other elements of these games really didn't feel like anything more than that a lot of the time.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with you. Okay, so after that, we briefly stuck our head into the raffle, which they'd cleared one wall.
Yep.
They still had 2 more walls to go.
Yep.
And some freestanding tables. I don't know if they're done yet. We got any emails?
No, we've not gotten any emails. I don't even know if they would have time to email us.
Yeah, they probably won't be sending those out until
also, we did not get anything.
No, we almost certainly did not. Which is fine. Again, we deliberately put a single ticket into a lot of different things.
Our prize was going around the different buckets and finding all these cool and interesting games.
Yeah.
The real prize is the money for the children's hospital.
Yeah, it is.
So things
I thought you were going to say the real prize is the friends we made along the way, and I would have had to
So things we didn't do. Again, this is a tabletop convention, so there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yep.
There was a cosplay contest, didn't see it.
Yep.
There were some TT or trading card games. Soul Master seems to have been popular.
Yep.
They had celebrities associated with the Ninja Turtles. I'm trying to find out where they were, but they were there.
Yeah, we saw them.
Yep.
They were behind, they were actually right outside the room we were playing in.
Yeah. Something called Lordwind Eclipse pre-release that looks very popular because a lot of people signed up for it. I don't know what that means, but it was there.
I mean, if it's pre-release, that's presumably a preview of some new game of some sort.
Yes, I understood that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
It's okay.
We're both quite tired.
Yep.
We have driven for 20 hours in the last 4 days.
Sorry, we were at a tabletop con, and while I will say this con wasn't purely sexist in terms of tabletop cons, there's still always going to be some low-grade sexism when you're at tabletop tables, and a little bit of that happened this weekend. Not a huge amount. Not more than I would expect it. If anything, way less than I would expect. But it still happens.
Yeah.
So.
Again, it's mostly just you get talked over a lot,
I get talked over a lot. Sometimes people explain rules to me that I already understand. That happened a couple times. People interrupt me. Yeah, but pretty standard stuff. I designed a pet Mothman. That was cool. But we didn't go to it, but it sounds fun.
That sounds fun.
Some board games that we're playing. My Dagger Heart, Secret Society. They had the costume contest. I mentioned that. And
a whole bunch of Secret Hitler.
Yep. Risk was happening.
Yep.
They also had a giant Catan setup that I think was mostly with kids that they had little stuff sheep at. They could throw sheep at each other.
Valid. They had some video game events. I know there was like a GoldenEye tournament and various other bits and bobs.
And I do think they beat their charity goal for last year, because we got an announcement Saturday that they had already raised $20,000, which was around what they raised last year. So I'm betting they raise more this year.
Yep.
Good on that.
Yep. I'm hoping they will put out some kind of announcement after the con to just tell us what the grand total was. No, they probably haven't finished counting it yet, because I paid for our tickets in cash. I was not the only person who did that. I suspect they were accepting card as well. But...
And I will say the selling for auctions, or the selling for the raffle, ended at 2:45 to Ryan at 3. You can still put tickets in until they call that particular item. So I saw some people back there when we were back there at 4:30 still putting tickets into the items that hadn't been called yet.
Yep.
On.
Go you.
Yep.
Go you. Yeah. Go you crazy dreamers.
Also, I will say this con does run by volunteers. Because the badges are free, typically what con volunteers get as a perk is a free badge. Since they already get their badges for free, they got these based on what we think they got. They were advertising they got free board games.
Yeah, it looked to us like they basically had these swag bags set up and ready to go, which I think were for the volunteers, which they were big bags with a lot of games in, and I think
at least $200 worth of games in each of those bags.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to us. And I suspect those bags were unique because it didn't look like it was a uniform thing. I think each bag had just a different combination of stuff.
And when because they were in the raffle room, we saw people going around and going down to different bags as if they were choosing them. So I think the volunteers were picking bags that games that they thought were interesting. That's a pretty awesome.
That is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. And if you're wondering where they get all the games, I don't know. Ask Adam.
Not a clue.
I'm assuming because it's an event for charity, a lot of people donate. A lot of the things I noticed with some of the games that were on the tables, they were new. Some of them didn't have shrink wrap that was fully on, so they might just be products that they couldn't sell.
Yeah. Yeah, stock that they're not allowed to sell for whatever reason, donate it to the charity.
Yeah.
Much better than just destroying it.
Yeah.
I just had a moment where I was I acquired a few free Warhammer books because this was back when I was working for Games Workshop. Just because my manager was just like, "Yeah, do you want these, Rich? Because this is dead stock. I'm technically supposed to destroy it. There is no if you will take them, I don't have to feel bad about destroying books." All right, okay. So I got some free books. So could be a similar situation to that. So, Top Con moments. We've got 11 minutes until we get home. We have timed this pretty well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to go with an obvious one first. Playing Warhammer again. I had fun. I'm kicking myself over a couple of mistakes I made. I should have popped my once per game 4+ for Feel No Pain on my Custodian Wardens. Right in that first round before they took a bunch of fire. I also should have remembered my Marshall Qatar's bonus from Shield Host. I appreciate none of what I said made any sense to anybody who doesn't play 40k, but I had a lot of fun with it, so thank you for letting me do that.
Also, we did forget one important thing.
Yes?
Shout out to Linz. He's already competing with us this year for attending as many conventions as we are.
Yeah, we bumped into them at this con and we're I believe your exact words were, "What the hell is that, Linz?"
Yep. Basically, I was not expecting them at this event
at
all.
So hi.
Hi. I'm sorry we didn't get to spend more time with you.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll see you in another con soon.
Yeah. You've got a spreadsheet.
Yep.
But yeah. Do you want to make that one of your moments? Or?
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Bumping into Linz. That was awesome.
That was great. Honestly, I'm gonna pick the intro D&D game specifically because it was really nice the moment that I saw um, the person who was new or relatively new to it, like latch onto their character concept and like grip onto it and never let go. And I was like, yes, they got it.
Yeah.
We are there. Like they had a slightly silly accent for it. We're rolling. We're cooking with gas, kids.
Yeah, I will pick Bubblegum 12 items or less. You can play that one with me, but it was very, very fun. And it was honestly nice, given I was a little bit nervous about being separated from you, given how sick I was this weekend. It worked great. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you were actually in a worse condition once you got back to me, just because that meant you were bored playing Warhammer or watching me play Warhammer.
Warhammer love you.
I love you too.
And for the record, Warhammer did not make me sick. If you think that, then it's a weird thing to think. Okay.
No,
it's mostly just when you're alone and you're in pain, you can't really do much but think about the pain. So if you don't have anything to do, you're kind of just thinking about the fact that you're in pain. It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, which is why I felt bad that I was like playing a game and enjoying myself, and you were sitting.
I really wanted you. Look, this has been hard for you too, and I really wanted you to enjoy just having a hobby again. I wanted this for you really badly. Okay.
I know, and I do appreciate that. Last one.
You know what I'm picking, so don't pick it.
I'm not actually sure if I do. Honestly, I might go with that. Like, so there was this couple who clearly very, very, very recently had a baby.
Aww.
Yeah, the baby was adorable.
Yeah.
Like I'm not entirely sure that kid was old enough to be like out of the house
You
yet.
don't judge parents.
But like again, they were small and tiny and adorable and cute. And again, you and I are of the time in our lives when we are having the discussion about whether we want children, and a bunch of our one of my friends posted up on Facebook literally 2 days ago that they are now a father, with a picture. Like, so yeah.
Is that the weird one?
Yes. Yes, it is. So yeah. So again, like it was just really, really sweet and cute, and like it was a nice like pick me up when we were at that quiet point of the day.
I will pick Kids on Bikes. It was very, very fun. It was awesome, and like I hope that person that
Yeah, I hope they can like find the thing that really works for them. Because like, I get the impression they're not a massive fan of fantasy, which I think is why they were bouncing off D&D. Because like D&D is it's high fantasy. Like
it's high fantasy, and I will do get if you're not familiar with theater of the mind storytelling, it is kind of a little bit hard to track what's going on sometimes, and I think we're struggling with that. This game is, I think, a bit more realistic, which helps.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was Adamcon. Did we have fun?
Yes.
Good. Oh yeah, final rankings.
So remember, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, our ranking system is entirely subjective. We thought about doing like an S through F ranking system, then realized that seemed to mean, especially when you're dealing with a con like this.
Mm-hmm.
So our ranking system is just would we go back? It's entirely subjective because, as we point out, distance is a major factor to that.
Yep.
The con's like in our hometown, that's not going to happen. But if there was, we'd pretty much always go.
Yep.
Whereas if there was one that was like, in Chicago, that's a lot higher of a standard.
Yep.
So with all of that said, we go back.
Probably, yeah. I would definitely put like. I don't know if I want to do the back and forth again.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that, we were pushing our luck with that.
Yeah, like if we were going to do the back and forth again, I'd probably want to set it so we don't have a game starting earlier than 12.
Yeah.
But if we got an Airbnb, probably.
Yeah.
And like, here's the thing. Cost is obviously one of the big factors when you're deciding what cons you can go to. Like, again, we have disposable income. We are both working professionals who don't have kids yet. But we do still need to consider costs. And, the thing is, because the con itself is free, that does make it slightly easier to justify paying the money for an Airbnb. But at the same time, 3 nights away from home is a lot. Especially given that at this time of year, there's not many cons near us, so we are having to drive further and spend more weekends away from home. So it all kind of like balances out. But like, I would definitely do this con again.
Yeah.
Like I had fun at it. You know, and I feel like for an event that's raising money for a good cause, I think it does do a very good job of it.
It is, and like this is a con that like it pretty much is very very good at what it does. Like it's obviously raising money for charity generally, and it's also like maybe there's like a little bit structural problems with scaling. I think we are still struggling to get enough volunteers, and there's still a bit of disorganization that's happening. But like it's a con for charity.
Yeah.
I can't be mad at a free con for charity, and like even those are honestly very minor issues. I've seen a lot of for-profit cons do it way worse.
Oh yeah.
And we have free games, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest. I feel like when we were talking about disorganization, the thing that I think was perfectly organized was the charity raffle.
Yes.
And that is the thing that, to all intents and purposes, that's the thing this con revolves around.
Yep.
And like, that was running like clockwork as far as I could tell. So yeah, like, really good job, really good on that. We had fun at the games we played. Like, maybe this is one we might want to run some stuff at next year.
Yeah, probably. There's not a lot of RPGs on the schedule.
Yeah.
And this is their first year in this venue, so I don't know, like, with their own venue, how feasible it would have been to have RPGs. But this new venue we have, with this couple offshoot rooms, RPGs are, I think, runnable.
Yeah. So yeah, like we might run some stuff. Like, we obviously didn't volunteer to run stuff because we didn't know we were going to this con until like a week before.
Yep.
But yeah, if we plan to do it next year, we might plan ahead.
Yeah, why not? Maybe to do some new systems and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like, we know some weird stuff.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to go figure out what the heck's happening with class tomorrow. Thanks for that, by the way.
Yep.
What am I supposed to do with the class? We're late started till 10. My class starts at 9:30 and goes to 10:45. I don't know how to manage that.
Yeah, I need to text my boss and just be like, okay, given the meta alert, do we need to wait until 10 to come in? Or, because does that mean just campus is closed until 10? Or does that mean it's
I'm
just...
in my office this morning. I've got too much to do tomorrow.
Yeah. Which means I'll need to be on campus anyway, because the building's still locked.
Like, why do you pick 10? 10 is a horrible time for Tuesday and Thursday classes. I don't know what I'm doing.
Presumably it makes sense. It would make sense for Monday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, right?
I guess, but I'm also just like, I don't know what to do with this.
Okay.
I'll talk to you more off mic about what the heck even I should do about it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, okay. So, thank you very, very much for listening. Next week, River City Gaming, whatever it's called.
I think it's River City Gaming Con.
Yeah, River City Gaming Con in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes.
We might see some people we saw at this con there because some people said they were going to both. So at this point, all I can really say is thank you very, very much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully we'll see you in future episodes.
Bye.
Bye.